Okay, when you have these right triangles, I would always try to see if you can use the Pythagorean theorem first. So are there two sides? I'm trying to find the third side. Nope. And now I'm going to look, it's a special right triangle. So first thing, Pythagorean theorem. Second thing, special right triangles. Otherwise, third thing that you could check is using trig. So if this is a 60-degree angle, opposite the 30-degree angle is half the hypotenuse, so this has to be 6. Number 2 is not a special right triangle. There's no markings of 45, 45, 90 or 30, 60, 90. So I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem because I have the hypotenuse and I have one of the sides. So I'm going to do 8 squared plus x squared equals 14 squared. And 14 squared minus 8 squared is 132, so x squared equals 132, and we always break these down into exact values. So when I do that, you get, if I break down all the factors, I'm going to have 2 times 2 times 3 times 11, so this is going to be 2 root 33 as my answer. And then number 3, I can use the Pythagorean theorem to find this side, but I want this angle. So when I want to try to find an angle, I need to use trig. So this one's going to be, I have the opposite and the hypotenuse. So I'm going to do the sine of x equals 7/12. So then I do inverse sine of 7/12. So the inverse sine of 7/12 is 36 degrees. It's approximately, I had to round. And then number 4, this is actually a special right triangle because it's a right triangle and it's isosceles. So these two have to be the same. So technically you could do the Pythagorean theorem too, but so if you have this right triangle, this side's root 2, 1, 1. So I'm going to do 12 is to x as root 2 is to 1 and cross multiply. So 12 equals x root 2, divide both sides by root 2, but we need to rationalize it, so it's 12 root 2 over 2, but this is going to be 6 root 2's. Okay, and then number 5, I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA, so it's, I know the opposite and adjacent, so it's going to be the tangent of 22 equals 13 over x. So when you have x in the denominator, you multiply both sides by x to get it out, and then I divide both sides by the tangent of 22. So I put 13 divided by the tangent of 22 in my calculator, and I get 32.2 to the nearest tenth. Okay, then up here, number 6, I'm going to use trig again. So it's going to be adjacent and hypotenuse. So it's going to be the cosine of 72 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 15. So 15 cosine of 72. 15 cosine 72 is approximately 4.6 to the nearest tenth, 1 decimal. And then number 7, classify each as acute, obtuse, or right. So I calculated these. So in the first one, a squared plus b squared was bigger than c squared, so that means c is little. So try to think of it as a side like this, a, b, c is small. So this is acute. These two are equal, so it's right. And then this one was a squared plus b squared was bigger than c squared again, so this was cute. And then number 8, add these vectors. So when you add the vectors, you add the x's together and you get -8. You add the y's together and you get 2. And then the second one, you add the x's together, you get -5. You add the y's together and you get 0. And then number 9, find the magnitude, distance, and direction of the vector, -2, 7. So you want to plot -2, 7 first, which is over here, and then connect it to the origin. I'm going to drop down a 90. The 90 always has to go with the x-axis. And label your sides of the triangle. So the magnitude is going to be this right here, and the direction is going to be the angle. So I'm going to do 2 squared plus 7 squared equals x squared. 4 plus 49 is 53 equals x squared. X is approximately, because I'm taking the square root of 53, so second square root 53 is approximately 7.3. So the magnitude is 7.3, and the direction is I'm going to use tangent. So the tangent of x equals 7/2. So I'm going to do inverse tangent of 7/2. So second tangent 7/2 is about 74 degrees. So this is 74 degrees, but I have to describe it, is going to be north of west. So this is my direction, this is my magnitude. Okay, so to find this coordinate, what I did was I set up a right triangle, not very well drawn here, but the hypotenuse is 29, so to find the x, I do cosine. Remember, cosine's x, sine is y. And I solved for the cosine was right here and the sine was right here. But now my sines, S-I-G-N, are going to both be negative because x is negative over here and y is negative. So there's my final answer. And then I'm going to set this next one up. So I drew the triangle. Now I need to find the magnitude, which is find this amount. So I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem. So 3 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. 45 equals c squared. C is about the square root of 40, or exactly the square root of 45, which is 45 is approximately 6.7. So the magnitude is 6.7, and the direction is the tangent of x is equal to 3, 6. So I'm going to do tangent inverse of 3, 6. So tangent inverse of 3, 6 is 26.6 degrees. So it's 26.6 degrees. Don't forget to put in south of east. So magnitude and direction. And then right here, sketch an angle of -60 degrees. So you start here and you go down 60 degrees. Sketch an angle of 140 degrees. So you start here and go over this way. Put your arrow at the end, 140 degrees. And number 13, find the exact value. So these are a little bit tricky that we need to know than on the test, but 120 degrees is go over this much and then drop down to make your 90. This is 60 degrees. So draw in your side lengths of your 30, 60, 90. So the cosine is the x value. So here the x is negative, so it's -1/2 is your answer. And the sine of -45, you're going to go down 45 degrees. Bring it up to make a 90-degree angle. Your sides are root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, and 1. And then the sine is the y value. So you're going down -root 2 over 2. So it's negative. And then the cosine of 30 is draw a 30-degree angle. Drop it down to make a right triangle. Label your side lengths. So this is 30. So the cosine is just the x, so it's positive root 3 over 2. Okay, a 6-foot man is looking up at a building an angle of elevation of 55 degrees. So this is 55. He is 40 feet from the building, from the base of the building. How tall is the building? So what you have to do is you have to solve for x first and then add 6. So when I solve for x, I get about 57 feet, but then I have to add 6. This is 57, then I have to add 6, so it's about 63 feet. And then 15, you just have to write the ratio. So on the quiz, some people found the angle measures. You just have to write the ratio. So sine of A is opposite of A over hypotenuse. Cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. Sine of B is opposite of B over hypotenuse. Cosine of B is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent of A is opposite over adjacent. And then C for tangent you can't do because you can't distinguish between the opposite and adjacent. And then number 16, a ramp goes up 1 foot for every 12 horizontal feet. Oops. So it makes a right angle. Find the incline, so find this angle measure. So you're going to do the tangent of the angle equals 1 over 12. So you have to find the angle measure, so you have to do inverse. So tangent inverse of 112 is about 4.8 degrees. And then number 17, a ship, is my boat, is on the surface of a water and spots a submarine 250 from the ship at an angle of depression of 20 degrees. How deep is the ship? So this is 250 because this is the distance, and then the how deep is the ship is going to go up and down. So this makes our right angle. So I'm going to use opposite over hypotenuse. So it's going to be the sine of 20 equals opposite over 250. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 250. So x is about 250 times the sine of 20, and it's about 85.5 feet. And then the last one, a boat heads 10 kilometers west and 5 kilometers north. Find the direction and distance. So this is a vector. So if it's going 10 west and 5 north, it's going to be up here. So 10 west, 5 north. I have to find this for the distance and the question mark for the direction. So I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So 5 squared plus 10 squared equals x squared. X squared equals 150, or 125, oops, 125. So x is about the square root of 125. So I do the square root of 125, and I get about 11.2 kilometers. And now the direction is going to be the tangent inverse of 5/10, because we have opposite over adjacent. So tangent inverse of 5/10 is 27 degrees. So it's 27 degrees north of west. So here's my direction, here, or distance, here's my direction.